Thank y'all for watching the Persistent Bosses podcast brought to you by NOLA Persistence. My name is Lisa C. Laird. I am the host and CEO of NOLA Persistence. Our guest on today's podcast is John Barranco, Vice President of Business Development for Prime Business Advisory Solutions. We're going to be discussing the psychology behind sports and sales. Do local sports outcomes affect our sales outcomes? Well, I'm going to give it to John. But before I give it to John, I want to tell you just how experienced he is in the sales world and sports world. For 25 years, he's been in sales, but he has experience working with Tulane, UNO, even Cox Sports with the Saints. So who better than to answer my questions than Mr. John? But when I bring it back to him, he's going to tell you a little bit about his business and how he helps companies.
Hey.
Hey.
How you doing?
Let us know.
Oh gosh, man. Our business has been around for 8 years. I know that because we have a son named Vincent and he's 8, and that's when we started the business. Natalie, my wife, who's the CEO, she's founded the business along with me, and then Ralph Lidoff and his wife Karen. And we saw a need. We saw a need where people own businesses. However, they're good at one or two things, and that's where we come in, whether it's payroll, human resources, operations, software conversions, marketing, accounting, whatever it may be. We'll come into a business and we'll plug in those gaps.
Oh, wow.
So we're not a bookkeeper. A lot of people will go, how's your bookkeeping business doing? It's not a bookkeeping service. It's more strategic business consulting. That's what we do. And we do business locally, regionally, nationally, worldwide. So 21 consultants right now that work for us, mostly moms. It was made with the mom in mind. So you give a mom the opportunity to get the kids up, get them to school, work, crack that computer open for several hours, then go pick up the kids, maybe crack the computer open again, do some work. And gives them flexibility and a little bit of freedom too.
What's beautiful about everything you just said, you were solving a problem. That is truly what sales is about. It's not just about the revenue. It's about the problems you solve to help other employers or employees. But I have to say, you helping out moms, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes. I wrote a paper back in college about moms and when it comes to sales and women when it comes to sales. The nurturing quality that they have. A lot of times that translates to what we do with our partners, our client partners that we work with. Being able to give them an opportunity to still work and still make the kind of money they were making elsewhere, but make it at a time where maybe they can go to the playground and have their kids play on the swing sets and enjoy themselves, and then go back to get to work. So,
as a mom of a special needs son, but also a single mom at one point, that means the world, the opportunity, because moms, we are hard workers. We are bosses in a whole nother area. I love my husband, but I don't know if he can handle all the appointments, all the juggling. He tries to be flexible as well, but man, the opportunity you're giving moms, wonderful. Well, now that you have definitely showed us how great your business is and what you do for the city of New Orleans, let's talk about New Orleans feelings, because John, I'm in my feelings. When I picked this topic a few weeks ago, I knew Tulane would have a good game. LSU was supposed to dominate, and they did not dominate on offense like they were predicted. So that makes our city very nervous because the opponents are going to get harder. Right. And now our Saints, just right there at the end, almost tied it. We were not happy with our kicker. But I can tell you, I'm feeling it. And now I want to just kind of bring it back to you, why our city feels it. Like, we're so passionate about Tulane, the Saints. Why does this affect our sales?
Well, so as you stated earlier, I've been in sales for a long time and in sports sales. And I had a coworker I worked at Cox Sports Television for 5 years. And I always used to say that sports is a passion buy. And She used to laugh and we'd have fun with it, but it's actually truly a passion buy, and sports is passion. And you can see that when you go to Baton Rouge on a Saturday night. You can see that in the Superdome. You can see that at Tulane. Actually, Tulane had a close game this past weekend too. Yeah. They played South Alabama down in Mobile, and that ended up being a closer game than probably most expected. But no, it's working in sports, you feed to the emotions of those folks. You can't really measure sometimes when it comes to sales in sports. For example, you see sponsors, you see like the signs at the baseball field or
Mm-hmm.
the signs at the football stadium. Sometimes it's hard to measure what that value is. Now, of
Right.
course, when I always say winning is the best marketing. So
Right.
when the Saints win, you can go to the black and gold store and you'll see not many things are on the shelf.
That's right.
But if they're losing, that's another thing. So it's definitely sports definitely matters, especially here in South Louisiana.
I've been in sales about 20 years and you have me beat. But I don't know if you were trained this way. Whenever I was soliciting cold calling, they would always tell me when you walk into someone's office, look around, see what their interest is. Is it golf? Is it LSU? Is it Tulane? Is it Saints? And the reason why we are so passionate about our sports, but it teaches us how to have conversation starters. It teaches us how to engage and build a relationship. So, one thing I would love to touch on with you is when it comes to following up with sales, if we have a hard weekend, do you really think we should be following up on a Monday?
No. You did what you said earlier though about I call it lining up with folks when
Mm-hmm.
you go and you go into an office or whenever you're meeting somebody for the first time. You're especially here, and we're talking about in the greater New Orleans area. You're gonna line up with somebody. It's gonna happen, whether it has something to do with school or your kids.
Right.
Kids seem to be a big one these days. We have two boys, and I can tell you that I usually line up with people just
Right.
because of my kids. But going back to what you were saying, when I first moved to New Orleans, that was in 2001. And for those LSU fans out there, the homecoming game for Nick Saban's first year, he played UAB. That's my school, and we beat them. And so then I moved to New Orleans
Uh-huh.
the following year, and that was my opener. And that's what I'd go. You ever heard of UAB? And they're like, and it takes them a minute,
That's right.
and they realize that we were the school that got paid because that's what the bigger schools do is they pay the smaller schools to come in and get a whooping, and we got paid and we beat them. And so that was my opener every time I would meet people in the beginning. My other opener, believe it or not, was around restaurants because I was new and I wanted to know where's the best veal because I love
Right.
veal. And so people love talking about food. So we're talking about sports, but also food is another one too. But they're great openers. But no, to get back to what you were saying, absolutely no. Do you not make what I would do on a Monday after a Saints loss is I would organize myself.
Right.
I would post content that might be relevant to what I do, whatever it is, sales, operations, whatever it may be. I would do research on clients,
Mhm.
kind of learn more about them, but absolutely not would I make any kind of sales call. And maybe that's wrong. I don't know. Now I
No.
would. Now what I would do though is if I have clients outside of the area,
Correct.
maybe, but still they have feelings, they have people
You're
they
right.
follow, so you never know. So maybe Mondays to me in the sales world should be used for maybe you got to do your expense reports, do busy work, do your busy work, get ahead. You mentioned meeting with clients, research those clients, take the time when you go and meet with a client to go and learn. You want to know them before you walk in the room. You want to know who they are, because then you can kind of lead into some things that help you line up.
So I'm going to say this as a sales trainer, that's what I've been doing the last few years. I have something called Investigation Mondays. That's why I love your answer before I said anything. When I train a sales rep, win or lose on the weekend, I always teach them to investigate, plan your week, know who you're asking for, know who you're following up for, know who your next lunch meeting is with, plan your week. Because I just feel like if a Monday is after a win, people sometimes had a few drinks, ate a little late. My brother-in-law owns an Italian pie, and he always says, man, when the Saints win, people just have appetites and want to drink and hang out. But when they lose, we actually lose money because everybody goes home.
Yeah.
So I still say shy away from Mondays, build, build, build. But I do want to bring this up to you. I know one of your best sales tactics is you're a great listener. You love to listen. You love to sponge and hear people's strengths. And I feel like when you let people talk, you kind of hear what's bothering them and how you could find solutions. So have you ever been in an appointment that had to happen and it's a week where all the teams lost? And you could tell the demeanor across the table, they're not feeling right. Do you think it's right to just ask that question? How you feel about the games this weekend? Do you feel like sometimes they just need to vent and talk about it so you can get back to business because you're in the appointment already?
That's usually the first thing, right when you walk in the room. That's the first thing
Yeah.
they'll mention the game. They'll mention
Yeah.
a play that wasn't made. And look, there's all kinds of plays that happened.
Mhm.
We're talking about the Saints opener yesterday. Tons of plays that could have went either way for any team. And I know there were some controversial plays as well. But right when you walk in the room, that's the first thing they're going to say. Usually, it starts by the time you walk into and you meet the assistant or whoever it might be that's welcoming you to the meeting. They may say something right off the bat. How about that game or whatever it may be.
Right.
And then I would say probably, I'll bet you there's a couple of folks that I know that if I were to go and meet with them right now, I'll bet you 95% of the meeting would be about the Saints game. And 5% would be about business.
Right.
That's how it would go. And that's it. But it's okay because, that's what you're there to listen and learn. And
That's right.
And from that, beautiful things can happen when it comes to what
Do
we
you
do.
feel it's a good bonding moment when someone, if I always tell people when I train them, if somebody vents to you, that's a compliment. Because if they're not comfortable venting to you, they won't always come to you when something's wrong. You know how some people hold it in. I think it's great that you can walk in, bring in a conversation, but I think once you allow someone to vent to you about what's bothering them, not that you agree with them, you just let them get it out. I think it makes the relationship stronger.
Well, I think it's the relationship can be grown by different ways. I look at I have friends that are clients and past clients, and we text back and forth about different things, or they'll send me a picture of their grandkids playing ball. My kids play ball, and so they relate to that kind of stuff. I think that's when you know that you have a relationship with somebody. Believe it or not, this is going to sound crazy, but I think social media, there's some good things about social media. And one great thing is it humanizes you, and it shows that maybe he's not just the sales guy.
That's right.
He's a good person. Like,
I think
he
that's
plays
important.
catch with his sons, or he's out in the community doing things. I think that's really important when it comes to building relationships. The other big part is, like you said earlier, listening. And if you're not listening, then you're not doing. And so I look at.
Oh, that's a great answer, John.
Well, I have a past client that I worked with, and I listened to him, and he kept talking about his son, and he wanted to help his son break into sports. And I'm like, well, I can make a few phone calls. And so I did. Like, I didn't just say that, I did it. And he ended up getting a job in sports and going on down the line. And that's what we
build a forever relationship. That's awesome.
But we all need to. But
why wouldn't you do
that's
that?
Not just that shouldn't be just for this I know a sales podcast.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be for sales. It should be all people should be listening
Absolutely.
and trying to do things to help other people. And you'll gain things, all kinds of things from that.
You hit that example because one thing I always say is, are you motivated by the revenue or the relationship? You got to do the right thing. You have to show you're human first. You have to show you're a person first. And one thing I love about the business you and Natalie have run, I know y'all do a lot of charity work, but if you meet with someone and you're not the solution, they can't do business with you, it doesn't mean you're not going to keep a relationship with them. It doesn't mean you're not going to help them or give them advice. Right. And I love that that's the type of person you are, because that's what truly builds character. The rule in the city of New Orleans, people want to do business with their friends. They have to view you as a friend. It's just how it is. And I always tell people, the way you represent yourself is the way you're referred. People refer their friends, not somebody that's going to bother them and try to take their money, someone that's going to build with them. And I think that is so classy about you guys. But as a sales rep, I want you to give me an example. Let's say you walk into a company. It's a company you've been trying to get an appointment with, trying to get an interaction with. You've done your investigation. You saw they had a grand opening. You thought, let me go. You walk in the building, you see Tulane all over
Mhm.
the front of the office.
Right.
The owner has a Tulane hat. How are you going to start that conversation when you shake his hand? Just because it's an incentive. Think
Yeah.
about it. You've done your research, but you had no idea how much he loved LSU. I mean, not
Right.
LSU, but Tulane.
Right.
He loves college ball. And you've been trying to just have that conversation starter with him. How easy? Not
It's
easy,
easy.
but
For
it's
me,
easy for
yeah,
you
for me, it'd
because
be
you know
easy.
sports, but
Right.
someone who's new to sales is so programmed to just pitch their sales pitch.
Right.
They're not programmed to pitch that conversation starter to show they're a person first.
Well, first of all, let's pretend like this is my first meeting with this person.
Okay.
So number one, I would not have a pitch. I would have
right.
I go in with a blank notebook because I want to learn everything I can about that person. At the end, it'll be a little bit about us and then what we do, but
Well, it's business, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But it's, to me, I treat every meeting, I try to anyways, like it's the movie of the week,
Uh-huh.
and they're the star. And I want them to talk. And I want to learn everything I can about them because I have friends that I've been here 20 something years now. I have friends that I still try to help them. Still try to help their
Right.
kids. Sometimes it could even be their grandkids soon. And so I want to learn everything I can about them. Now, it's kind of an unfair question because I worked in sports my whole life for the most part. When you asked about when I walk in the room and I see Tulane, because I have such a long history with Tulane.
Right.
Even going back to when I was in college in Birmingham, we used to play Tulane in
Mhm.
sports. So I can talk Tulane from the mid 90s all the way to
Right.
now. So what's that, 30
Yeah.
years? So it's kind of an unfair question in a way. But I guess what I would say to the person that doesn't have my experience is when you see that, you should, because you're from this area, you should have some sort of understanding of Tulane.
Yeah.
Back in the late 90s, they went undefeated, and
Right.
they still probably should claim a national title. Some people may disagree. They had really good baseball programs
Mhm.
for a lot of years. Now that's changed a lot with the NIL, and the whole college landscape's changed. But you should really be versed on, especially here in South Louisiana, you should be versed in sports, outdoors,
Right.
and restaurants.
Right.
Food. Those are things that people love to talk about, and of course their kids. That's
Right.
people love talking about their kids, their grandkids, that kind of thing. So
And I could tell you, if I walked into a business, let's say I see nothing but LSU, I'm going to look, and especially if we beat Alabama. I know if we beat Alabama that weekend, I'm going to probably have my introduction so simple, like, what a game. What a game, man.
You don't have to say much when
Yeah,
when
what a
those
game.
two, when those
What
two
about
fight,
that
yeah.
2-point play? Everybody remembers that 2-point play that
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels did. And the person will probably smile, we'll talk, and then here comes, this is who I am. But I do have a great one for you. Let's say everybody wins,
Mhm.
like blowout. Let's say Tulane, LSU, Saints, surprising wins.
Mhm.
Could be the Bama game, surprising wins.
All right.
Would you do a very powerful follow-up on Tuesday with people that you've had trouble getting in touch with because you feel like they'll be happy to talk business?
Well, it depends. If I'm working in sports, if I'm working for the Saints or I'm working for LSU, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. There's so many, and I've had those moments.
Mhm.
I've had those when I was at Cox Sports Television. I worked there during the Super Bowl years for the Saints, or the Super Bowl year, I should say. And that was the best. That was the best because
Right.
everybody was on a high,
Mhm.
and we had special programming, and a lot of our folks took advantage of that special programming and it helped their businesses. That was the whole. And again, going back to being a consultant
Mhm.
with your clients and meeting their needs, we gave them opportunities to get in front of people at an opportune time. I had somebody joke with me about when the Saints won the Super Bowl. We actually at Cox, we did the parade. We televised the parade, and we sold sponsorships to it. And I had somebody call me the other day. He remembered doing that, and I'm like, well, wasn't that like a great opportunity for you? I mean, that could be the only time we ever do this.
Right.
I mean, I hope it's not, but that's what we do. We want to give them opportunities. So yes, whenever, and look, Tulane won. Did they win convincingly? No, but they won.
They won.
So this week they should build on that.
That's right.
Their sponsorship guys or girls. Same thing with LSU's hot, even though They didn't win convincingly this past week against Louisiana Tech. It still was a win. So
That's
they're
right.
2-0. Momentum. They still got momentum. They're 2-0. Saints didn't. They could have probably won this game. So I still feel decent about it. Like
Right.
I would still go and meet with them. But man, when everybody's winning, it's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. So something I have that's because your kids are in sports. I know your son's in baseball. So let's say you're at a baseball with one of your kids and you see all the advertisements, and I will tell you, as a sales rep, I use it to my advantage.
Mhm.
I'll walk in a business and say, "Hey, I saw your flyer at my son's game. I want to come and introduce myself." And this is how I feel. You're advertising. You want people to come in. You want to be noticed. So would you encourage salespeople? Let's say you do get some name and numbers, offer some advertisement that's they've paid for. Would you encourage salesmen maybe Tuesday or Wednesday just pop in and just mention, "Hey, I saw your advertisement at my son's game. Does your son play, for the opposite team or for the team? Just thought I'd come say hi." I just want to show sales reps that be you. Be you. Don't be afraid to tell someone, "Sorry, I'm soliciting," but technically you were soliciting first. So,
Yes.
and because
100%.
look, but here's the deal: as a parent, you get to know all the parents on the team. You probably would know who the sponsors are.
Right.
But I just thought it'd be a great question because you're so good with these conversation starters.
Yes. So I've been doing this for a long time, since the late 90s. And I always said, if you have a business card, you're advertising. I
That's
used to
right.
always say that. And so, yes, I'm the guy. And again, I'm going way back when I was a young man. I was hustling. I would go to all the ball fields and I would make notes I would actually video, or I had a little voice recorder, believe it or not.
Oh, that's
Back
great, John.
before the smartphones,
Mhm.
and I would note to self kind of thing, and I would say who's on the outfield fence. I would do that when I moved here. I went to every ballpark around here, and I made notes
That's
of.
why we get along, John.
Yeah. Oh, it was psychotic a little bit, like just how. But that's how I'm built, and that's what I would do. Church bulletins, like I mean, you name it. I could give you a whole list of ways that I've built leads over my life. But yeah, that gives you, in my mind, that gives you permission to call on
Thank
those
you.
folks and see if there's an opportunity that you can present to them that's mutually beneficial.
I'll make you laugh. So many years ago in my early career, after about 5 years into this, when you get told no as much as I do, I got brave. I just like, you got to get through the no's to get to the yes, right? I walked into a law firm. I don't want to say the name of it. This is probably 15 years ago. And the lawyer gave me a very hard time for being in his business. And I got very bold right back, what I got to lose, and said, "You have 2 billboards in the city. I've seen your commercial every evening. Not to mention that park bench by that bus. I mean, you wanted me here.
Yeah.
You're upset that I'm here, but you're advertising so well. It got my attention." And the office manager is laughing because I got him. He still, was like, "Oh, I'm not interested," but he quieted down. I think I almost had to paint the picture for him. You're advertising in the city. You are making yourself very known and very popular. This is what you wanted.
Right.
I know
Right.
you wanted customers to come in, but you got a solicitor that can help your business. So
Yeah, and I think that's the key right there. What you just now said is how can I help?
how can I help?
And it may not work out. I don't know. But you want to present the opportunity, or at least be allowed to present the opportunity, and the least they can tell you, like you said, is no. A lot of times, I want to get to know so I can move on.
Right.
And look, that doesn't mean that we're never going to talk, or I'm never going to see you again. But it's just no right now. So yeah.
That is great. We have so much in common. Like when I brought up the question about the advertisement at games, that is so crazy how you brought up that story, because that's why we think alike.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I just I tell people I don't feel like I'm a solicitor. I feel like I'm an opportunity finder.
Yeah.
You don't know what opportunity I have unless we talk, and I just want to give you that delivery and just see how you feel. But you're right. Sometimes it's not the right fit, but it doesn't mean I can't keep a relationship. Like one time I tried very hard to do business with this restaurant, and they weren't really interested, but I really loved their food and their catering. I said, "Look, come to a networking event. You got a really good deal." And I again, don't have the business, But the relationship, I thought she was classy to the point she said her cousin does something similar to me. Look, I would never touch on family. That's a whole nother topic, how people are
Right.
about sports versus family working for them.
Oh yeah.
So, but John, this has been so awesome. As I prepare for this podcast, I'm like, man, I have an idea of what John might kind of say and go with, but I've learned so much about you, how impressive the
Oh,
things you do in this
well, thank you.
city.
Thanks for having me.
And what a great attitude. But I have to ask this because I'm a big motivational quote person. I love hearing the words from someone else just to keep me going because sometimes in sales, things do get hard. So tell me your favorite motivational quote and why.
So we read a lot of motivational books at home. Zig Ziglar is probably one of my favorites. There's a quote he I guess for me, this one stuck with me, and I probably 20 years ago, and it just kind of just sticks with me. And I try to emulate this every day if I can. It's hard because we get busy, right?
Right.
So it's, if you can have everything in life, you can have everything in life that you want if you can help other people get what they want.
Oh, beautiful.
There's other people out there. Nick Saban, the former coach of LSU and Alabama, and multiple other teams and schools. He's got some great stuff. I follow him on Twitter. I post a lot about him. He gets some. There's a really good quote about nothing. And I don't know if you've seen it, but just Google Nick Saban plus nothing, and you'll see basically you're not entitled to anything. Every day when you wake up, you're entitled to nothing, and it's a great motivational quote. So, kind of touching on that subject, I know you're a big fan of that stuff. We'll write motivational stuff for our kids, and you wonder if it resonates because they're kids. I have a 13 and an 8, and my 13-year-old wrote an essay at school the other last spring, and you could tell that some of the stuff we're telling them is sticking. So for all you people out there, motivate your kids, motivate your people, your employees, motivate anybody you can. Do those little things that are going to make a big difference.
I love your quote. As somebody with a special need child, and it's hard work. It's been hard work for 6 years, and the work's not over. But whenever a special need mom needs some coaching, needs some advice, I give it. I would never charge, even if they want to just sit with me and get a game plan to, like the things you do, find a position working from home because they can't leave home. Some special need kids, sadly will never be able to live on their own. It's the reality. But I think that quote really got me emotional because I feel like God gave my son a voice. He has some opportunity because of his progress. Not everyone has that. So I try so hard to give back.
And you're inspiring other people by what you're doing. So
thank you.
Keep up the good work.
I know.
And,
I'm trying.
and something else I'll touch on. It was funny. We're not funny, but I was thinking about being with you at Mass on Saturday night. We're regular attendees of Mass every week. And one key ingredient to everything is prayer. And so, I was with someone the other day, and they said, well, what does that mean? Do you pray for business? I said, no, I just pray. And I pray for my family. I pray for our health. I pray for us to do well so we can help other people, and so I think, we talk a lot about, leads, and we talk about hustling, and we talk about motivation, but prayer is such a strong thing. And I encourage everyone to take a minute, and look at little signals. It could be, for me, there's few signals throughout every day that catch my eye, and it makes me go, you know what, let me take a minute. And so it helps.
They say everything happens for a reason. You definitely have been the reason for me today. This has been great. I love your insights. Someone's going to listen to this podcast and be inspired, feel a little bit better, or maybe come up with a better game plan. Not so much we're trying to encourage people to make money, but at the end of the day, we can't let the sports outcomes hurt us from paying our bills. We have to find a way around it. Because what if all our teams are losing the whole fall? We still have to survive.
Right.
So I hope that we've touched someone that needed to hear this. Somebody could be wanting to leave sales right now, and maybe we made a change.
Hope so.
Thank you so much for being here, John. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks again for watching Persistent Bosses. We look forward to you joining us again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until then, be persistent.